Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the world of Dynasty Warriors Origins to talk about the different weapon types you can use while roaming the Seven Kingdoms. Each weapon in this game has its own unique playstyle, making it an exciting challenge to figure out which one suits your style best. From swords to polearms, you've got plenty of options to take down massive armies in style. And the fun doesn't stop there. Each weapon type can be powered up with special battle arts to make them even more powerful, giving you more ways to destroy your enemies and become the ultimate warrior. But not all weapons are created equal. Some are downright overpowered, while others might leave you wishing for a better option. That's why we've put together this Dynasty Warriors Origins weapons tier list. We're breaking down which weapons are the best to use so you can focus on the ones that pack the most punch. Whether you're a fan of fast, agile attacks or you prefer a slow but heavy-hitting weapon, we've got you covered. Stay tuned and let's get into which weapons you should be wielding for maximum dominance on the battlefield. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking weapons in Dynasty Warriors Origins. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
My friends, only 0.1% of viewers subscribe. If you like this type of content, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you in advance for your support.
The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Spear. Alright, let's talk about the Spear in Dynasty Warriors Origins. And no, it's not the weapon that'll blow your mind. I mean, sure, it's got some cool stuff going for it, like that long range and easy to learn combo that sends enemies flying. So if you're just starting out and trying to get the hang of the game's combat system, it's a solid pick. But here's the thing, it doesn't really stand out compared to some other choices in the game. While it's decent for knocking enemies into the air and keeping them at a distance, the Spear just doesn't offer much when you stack it up against weapons like the Halberd or Lance. Both of those have higher damage potential and more versatile movesets that can really help you crush tougher opponents. Heck, even the sword comes out ahead in some situations. The Spear's lack of advantages becomes pretty clear as you move forward in the game. If you're looking for a weapon that makes you feel like a powerhouse, you might want to skip the Spear. It's not terrible, but it's definitely one of those options you'll likely replace once you unlock something stronger. So while it gets the job done in the early stages, the Spear's glory fades once you start diving into the real action. Keep that in mind if you're gearing up for the long haul in Dynasty Warriors Origins. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, gauntlets, staff, and sword. Alright, let's talk about some weapons in Dynasty Warriors Origins that are a bit underrated but can still pack a punch when used right. We're diving into the B tier today, which means these weapons aren't quite top tier, but they still have a place in your arsenal, if you know how to handle them. First up, we've got the gauntlets. If you're looking to channel your inner monk, these are the perfect fit. They come with fast, hard-hitting attacks, so they're great for dishing out damage quickly. However, their limited range can be a bit tricky to manage, especially when you're up against faster enemies or larger groups. It can feel a little clunky trying to get your stance changes just right, but once you master that, you'll start to notice how satisfying it feels to unload on enemies up close. If you're up for a challenge, the gauntlets can be surprisingly rewarding. Next, we've got the staff. Now, this one is all about speed and mobility. Think of it like your quarterstaff or a striking staff. It's got those fast, fluid attacks, and you can perform some awesome airborne moves to keep things dynamic. It's especially great for those of you who like to take on officers and bosses solo. But there's a catch, the damage isn't as impressive as some of the other weapons, so you'll need to rely more on technique than raw power. If you like agility and precision over sheer destruction, the staff might be your go-to. Let's talk about the sword now. If you've played Dynasty Warriors Origins for any amount of time, you've probably used this weapon already. It's the first weapon you'll come across, and for good reason. It's a solid choice for beginners. The sword is straightforward to use, with a nice, strong battle art that hits hard and deals AoE damage around you. But here's the thing, the combos are pretty long and sometimes feel like they drag on too much. You're doing a lot of work for not quite the payoff you'd get from other, higher tier weapons. Still, it's reliable if you want something simple and effective. What's the common theme here with all of these B-tier weapons? Well, they all shine in certain areas but come with their quirks. They're not the hardest hitting or most versatile weapons out there, but with the right strategy, you can still pull off some amazing feats. It's all about learning their ins and outs. Take the time to figure out how to work with their limitations, and you'll start to feel like a true warrior. One thing to keep in mind is that while these weapons can be a bit weaker in terms of raw damage, they're still great for specific playstyles. If you enjoy moving quickly and hitting fast, the staff might just be your favorite. If you like getting in close and feeling that punch with each attack, the gauntlets are your best bet. And if you want something basic but dependable, the sword always has your back. It's about how you use them, not just the weapon stats. So, if you're looking to mix things up or just want a fun challenge, give these B-tier weapons a try. They may not be top tier, but with a little practice, they can still be a total game changer. Let me know in the comments which weapon you prefer to use and how you like to build your character around it. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Crescent Blade, Podeo, and Wheels. Alright, let's dive straight into the heart of Dynasty Warriors Origins and talk about some of the weapons that absolutely shine in the A tier. These weapons are powerful, fun to use, and can really pack a punch, just not quite as much as those S tier powerhouses. First up, we have the Crescent Blade. Now, this one is a bit of a mixed bag. While it's definitely a force to be reckoned with, it doesn't quite hit the crazy levels of dominance that some other weapons in the game do. It's unlocked later in the campaign, so by the time you get your hands on it, you'll be in for a treat. The combos are simple, making it a weapon that's great for those who like to button mash, but still be effective. But when you compare it to something like the halberd, the Crescent Blade doesn't quite reach the same level of power, even though they're somewhat similar. Still, it's a solid choice if you're looking for something reliable and satisfying. Next up, we have the Podeo. Oh man, the Podeo is a beast of a weapon. It's like if a falchion and a great sword had a baby, and that baby decided to hit you with all the force of a freight train. This weapon is all about charging up attacks, which means you need to have some serious patience and timing to make it work. You can deliver massive damage, but those attacks come with a pretty long wind-up. Learning how to time your charges properly and avoid getting caught in the slow swings can be tough, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be dealing some serious damage. The Podeo has a really high skill ceiling, so if you're the type to enjoy mastering a weapon, this one's for you. It's easy to pick up, but hard to master, and that's what makes it so fun once you unlock its full potential. Now, let's talk about the Wheels. These are the chakrams of Dynasty Warriors Origins, and let me tell you, they're not your average weapon. The unique thing about the Wheels is that they're the only ranged weapon in the game, which is pretty cool if you ask me. You toss them out into the fray, and they deal some massive AoE burst damage before coming back to you. It's definitely a unique playstyle, and it takes a bit of getting used to. But once you get the hang of it, you'll feel like a total pro throwing these bad boys around the battlefield. There's something satisfying about hitting multiple enemies at once and having your weapon come back to you like a boomerang, ready to do it all over again. While they're not quite as powerful as other close combat weapons, the range and the unique AoE capabilities make the Wheels a lot of fun to play with. What makes the Crescent Blade really interesting is that it's not all about raw power. Sure, it has its strengths, but it also allows for a more fluid, fast-paced style of combat. You don't have to focus too much on timing or charging up attacks like with the Podeo. It's more about getting in there, slashing away, and clearing out mobs. It's one of those weapons that feels satisfying to use even if you're not fully optimizing it. If you're the kind of player who likes to mix things up and keep things breezy, Crescent Blade might just be your go-to weapon. On the other hand, the Podeo requires a little more thinking ahead. It's not the type of weapon you can just pick up and start wrecking with immediately. Instead, you'll want to plan your attacks, think about positioning, and really master the art of the charge. If you're in it for the challenge and enjoy being able to land heavy, satisfying hits after carefully setting them up, the Podeo is perfect for you. It's like the ultimate test of patience and precision. And then, there's the Wheels. These things are all about playing smart and using your range to your advantage. It's a totally different vibe compared to the Crescent Blade and Podeo. The learning curve can be steep, but once you get it down, the fun factor is off the charts. You're tossing these around, controlling the battlefield with your ranged attacks and dealing damage from a safe distance. It's the perfect weapon for those who want to shake up the traditional melee style and get a little creative with their combat approach. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, halberd, lance, and twin pikes. Alright, let's talk about the absolute powerhouses in Dynasty Warriors Origins, the weapons that turn the tide of battle in your favor like no other. I'm talking about the S tier weapons, the ones that make you feel like an unstoppable force of nature. So grab your controller because we're about to dive into the weapons that will have you wrecking enemies and clearing the battlefield like a pro. First up, let's talk about the halberd. Oh boy, the halberd is everything. It's the king of the battlefield right now. I mean, we're talking about the hardest hitting weapon in the entire game. You've got massive damage, insane mobility, and a playstyle that's just so satisfying. The combat is fast, fluid, and feels like you're slicing through enemies without a care in the world. And let's not forget its extended range and battle arts that help you clear out mobs like a breeze. Sure, it's locked behind the completion of the story campaign, but once you unlock this beauty, you won't even want to look at another weapon. It's that good. But hey, maybe you're not quite ready to tackle the halberd just yet. No worries, because the lance is also here to dominate. The lance isn't just strong offensively, it's got some serious defense going for it too. You can counter incoming attacks like a pro, and with a charged heavy attack, you can knock enemies into the air with a powerful AoE cleave. Once you master this dynamic, the lance becomes a beast that can hold its own against almost anything. Plus, it's available before the halberd, so if you're looking to build some serious momentum, this weapon has got your back. Now, if you're in the mood for something a bit more flashy, the twin pikes are your go-to. These babies dish out some of the highest damage in the game, and with the battle raw battle art, you can crank that damage up to 11. The twin pikes might require a bit more finesse to fully master, but once you get the hang of them, you're in for a treat. The combo list is extensive, and the battle arts give you a ton of versatility, making this weapon perfect for those solo encounters where you want to show off a bit. If you're looking to flex your skills and truly shine, the twin pikes are a solid choice. But let's not ignore the learning curve here. Every S-tier weapon in Dynasty Warriors Origins has its own rhythm, and it's up to you to figure out how to make the most of it. It's not just about hitting hard, it's about mastering the flow of combat, knowing when to strike, when to counter, and how to unleash those sweet battle arts with perfect timing. Each weapon requires dedication, but the payoff is oh so satisfying. So, there you have it. Whether you're wielding the raw power of the halberd, the defensive finesse of the lance, or the explosive damage potential of the twin pikes, these S-tier weapons will make you feel like the ultimate warrior. Now get out there and start mastering your weapon of choice. The battlefield is waiting, and trust me, it's going to be a blast. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.